Greetings, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome Yang Yua from the National University of Singapore. And he'll talk to us tonight about the strong minimal pair problem.
Okay, thank you, Linda. First, I'd like to thank Linda and the organizers for inviting me to give the talk. And also thank you all for coming to my talk. So I'll talk about strong minimal pair problem. Okay, I'll introduce some background and take one or two points among the construction, which is useful for the discussion. And then I'll make some general remarks on priority method. Okay. So this is a joint work with Mingzhong Cai, Yichun Liu, Yong Liu, and Cheng Peng. So this is still a ongoing project, but we are confident enough to announce the results. So if you spot any dubious claims, please alert us. Okay, so the strong minimal pair problem belong to this ancient research field called RE degrees or CE degrees. So all the degree I'm talking about in this talk are RE Turing degrees. So the domain R is a Turing degree contain a recursively enumerable set, and this partial order less than is a Turing reducibility. So the study of degrees is a very old has a long history. So probably start from post in the 1940s, and in the 50 years after that, many interesting results are obtained. I guess now is probably less hot than the randomness or reverse math, but it's still an interesting topic, at least to me. So let me give you an example of the study of RE degrees, and which is related to my talk. So in 1966, Lachlan and Yes, they showed independently that there are RE degrees which are called minimal pairs. So in other words, there are RE degrees A and B, which with infimum 0. Let me try to see whether I can write on this. Give me a second. So how do I should go to the Zoom. Okay, you see my slide?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So let me. Can I write on this? Oh, never mind. So let me just share the screen now. Okay, so let me just continue without drawing the pictures. Okay, you will see more pictures later in a moment. Okay, so
usual has happened with this share screen. We're seeing something else. Can you go back and just try with full screen again?
Okay, so share screen. Sharing. Is this okay or?
Yes.
Good.
Okay, so let me continue. So I just defined a minimal pair. So now a strong minimal pair is a minimal pair, but with an actual property, which says for any non-zero degree x below A, B join X is above A. So you'll see the picture in a moment. Okay, so I will repeat this definition several times later. Okay, so note this is a one-sided strong minimal pair because in minimal pair A and B are symmetric, but in this version of strong minimal pair, there's a difference between A and B. It's not symmetric. So there is a symmetric version, which is probably super strong minimal pair. So it's for any x below A, B join x above A, and also for any y below B, y join A above B. So that's a two-sided version. So in fact, the strong minimal pairs are closer to a concept called Slayman triples than minimal pairs. So let me define Slayman triple. So first there's a very ancient note, handwritten note by Ted Slayman. So there's a date there, October 1983. So so at that time, probably Xerox played the role of the archive now. And so people are copying the handwritten notes. So Slayman studied RE degrees. And so the motivation was to answer a question of Karl Jakosch. Jakosch asked whether the RE degrees is a sigma 1 elementary substructure of delta 2 degrees. And at that time, Ted Slayman happened to already studied this triple ABC. And so he answered the question immediately, saying that the RE degrees is not a sigma 1 elementary substructure of the delta 2 degrees. So that's one of the applications of this funny triple. So I'm going to define it formally. So here's the definition of Slayman triple. So there are RE degrees A, B, and C. So this A, B, and C are RE degrees such that A is non-recursive, A is bigger than 0, and B cannot compute C. So C is not below B. But for any non-zero RE degree X below A, so with a little bit non-trivial help of the A side, B join X can compute C. So B itself cannot compute C, but B join anything below A, as long as it's not 0, will compute C. So that's the Slayman triple. Okay, so the strong minimal pair problem says one can make the A and C together, right? So strong minimal pair says A and B are minimal pair, but for any X below A, X join B will be above A. So in other words, A and C are the same guy. So imagine you move the upper cone from the base C to base A. So that's the picture of the strong minimal pair. Okay, but to do this, actually there's technical difficulties because for those who know the construction of Slayman triple, it used so-called gap and co-gap construction. So during the gap, you allow elements enter A, but you restrain both B and C. And in the co-gap, you do the opposite. You restrain A and allows element enter B and C. So in some sense, A is on one side and B and C is on the other side. So you never change A and BC at the same time. So there's a, but if you want to construct a strong minimal pair, you would rather put C and A together. So it's there are technical difficulties to do that. So this question has a so-called long and twisted history. So in 2015, BCLS claimed that strong minimal pair exists. But the main theorem of my talk is the opposite. So there's no strong minimal pairs. So although we claim the opposite things, but actually we benefit greatly from their ideas and techniques. And you'll see the close connection in the remaining of the talk. So according to them, the strong minimal pair problem has a long and twisted history indeed. So this is another twist. It was discussed and claimed in both directions by a number of researchers over the past 25 years. That was in 2015, so now maybe it's more than 30 years. So in fact, in their paper, they ask whether, so they claim there is a one-sided strong minimal pair. They ask whether people can extend it to the two-sided strong minimal pair. So I think Stefan Lamb bring the question to us when he had his sabbatical in 2016, or when he visited Singapore. And at that time, several of my collaborators are graduate students, and they work on this problem. They try to generalize it to the two-sided strong minimal pair. At one stage, they think they did it, but then later they find a mistake, and so on and so forth. So our starting point was actually following the study of them and trying to improve. Okay, so here's the main theorem again. So there's the picture I promised. So it says for any RE degree A and B, either there's a degenerate case, B is above A. So that includes A is recursive. So as long as B cannot compute A, then we can find some X below A, RE degree X below A, so that this X is the witness of the minimum. The pair is not strong minimal. So we can find the RE degree X less than A, so that X is not 0 and X join B does not compute A. So this is the opposite of the claim of strong minimal pair. Okay, I hope the picture is clear. Okay, so one of the corollary is probably, I don't know whether people have claimed this or not. It's an interesting corollary, I think. So if A, B, C form a Slayman triple, then I claim A and C actually form a minimal pair. So the argument is, if you have something non-trivial below both A and C, say X, and then this X and B will form a strong minimal pair, but we show that strong minimal pair does not exist, so no such X exists. So I can show you in the picture. Let's go back to the Slayman triple. So here, so I claim that in the Slayman triple ABC, A and C form a minimal pair. It's very easy to see A and B form a minimal pair, because if you have something non-trivial below both A and B, and then X join B will be still B. It won't compute C. So A and B has to be minimal pair. So therefore, A and X will be minimal pair. So now I want to convince you that B and X actually is a strong minimal pair. Well, so for any Y below X here, Y join B, so if Y is non-trivial, Y join B will be above C. So therefore, will be above X. So therefore, X and B will be a strong minimal pair. So let me go back to where I am. Right. So therefore, if A, B, C form a Slayman triple, indeed A and B form a minimal pair. A and C also form a minimal pair. So this probably fits the intuition of the gap and co-gap construction I just said. So because during the construction of Slayman triple, that A is on one side, B and C is on the other side. So somehow maybe intuitively that is very natural that A and C also form a middle pair. Okay, so any questions so far? Or if you know that this is false, then my talk ends here. So okay, so since there's no questions, let me continue. So I will not attempt to give any construction. The construction is too complicated. So there's no way, and it's not a pleasure to talk about priority method in a talk like this. So instead, I will just pick one or two points I want to highlight. So the purpose is to initiate the future. The discussion at the end. So there are several features I want to share with you. So one is the non-uniform feature of the construction. So in the BCLS paper, they give a full detail of how to satisfy two requirements, or you can read it as how to defeat two candidates, two sets. So, and their idea works. So indeed, that section was completely right. But however, they seem to overlook the more complicated interaction of three requirements, and that caused a new problem. In other words, they probably think that after they can defeat two requirements, defeating three or more requirements is just by a similar argument. And then they probably overlook some difficulty. So what we are doing is this. Okay, so we want to find a witness X which demonstrate A and B does not form a strong minimal pair. Right? So here's a requirement. I will never use a requirement, so I will not read it. So we want to find an X to do something. Now, instead of building a single X, we build a countable mini. So we build one set U, a countable family of V, and for each V, I have a countable family of W. So they are highly non-uniform. So in the end, one of the UVW wins play the role of X. So this is one of the features in the construction. So the question is this necessary? I guess yes, because their paper, they can defeat two sets, two candidates, and their method. The problem occurs when we try to let them handle three candidates at the same time. So suppose three sets are interacting in an active way, then their construction have problems. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to always provide three candidates there to mess up things. As a side remark, their method, if for a fixed n, for example, n equal 10, there's a special arrangement of the tree so that probably by modifying their technique, you can defeat the fixed 10 requirements. But the price to pay is you allow the 10 requirements more or less of the same priority, that whoever act first will initialize the others. So if we didn't introduce any more requirements, there's only 10 requirements, then this will happen 10 times, then we win all of them. But if you introduce new requirements, then probably the new requirements is always the guy who sacrificed. Then it's very difficult to satisfy all the requirements. But this is just a side remark. So that's the reason we try to use the non-uniform approach, and somehow we need three families of candidates to achieve the goal. So one of the complications of the construction is due to the non-uniformity of the candidates. Now, the other feature I want to highlight is okay, so it's probably called pi3 words, or so. So let me start with this omega branching priority tree. So I assume that people have some experience with the tree construction of the RE degrees. So inspired by their paper, in their construction, they have this C outcome, so-called. So the okay, so that the C outcome seems to corresponding to a pi3 outcome. So we have a corresponding node. So we call it a C node. C comes from their C outcome. So whose outcome are arranged with the order type omega plus 1. So C would have outcome 0, the less than L indicating the left to right order. So on the tree will be C concatenated with 0 and 1, but at the rightmost there is a branching omega, so labeled omega. So there's order type omega. So the intuitively the outcome C concatenated n indicating certain functional is partial at the weightness n. So n is the weightness of some function is partial. So they are sigma 3 outcomes, and the omega plus 1 branching C concatenated with omega, indicating that the functional we are looking at is total. So this is a pi3 outcome, and this is not new. So it was used long time ago. For example, in Richard Shor's non-jump inversion theorem in 1988, he used this omega plus 1 branching. I don't know whether this is the earliest example. So probably people in the audience can tell me. So in our construction, we have in our construction involved the pi3 outcome a lot. So we will think of this C concatenated with omega as a gateway to a parallel world, parallel universe, to a pi3 world. So the picture is look like this. So the construction, okay, so there's a tree in the background. Somewhere on the tree, there's a node C node, and then follow the outcome omega, we are entering a parallel world. So this is one of the pi3 world. And then the rest, these C concatenated with n's, we'll call it sigma 3 world. So in the sigma 3 world, we may encounter another C node, say C prime, and then the C prime is another gateway. So possibly the C prime, we can enter another pi3 world at C prime. So the priority tree will have, how to say, a one single sigma 3 word and countably many pi3 word. So, but inside pi3 word, somehow we can see a functional is total, and then the one of the family, the U family, or actually it's a single U is finished, so he is not the candidate. And so inside the pi3 world, we only fight with the V's and the W's. So there's no more pi3 words. So there's no nesting of the pi3 words. So the picture is, okay, I hope it's clear that there's one sigma 3 word and countably many parallel pi3 words. Again, this appear in the Shor's construction, I think. So now the main feature I want to highlight is the how sigma 3 word and pi3 word interacts. So a typical way of the interaction is like this. So we naturally we divide, we partition the sigma 3 word into countably many pieces, like the extensions of C concatenated 0, so let's say P0 here. and P1 and P2. So this is the partition of the sigma 3 word. Now, in the pi 3 word with the gateway C, we also partition the pi 3 word into country many pieces, and then we interlace them so that the priority goes like this, right? The people from P1 probably can initialize people in Q0, people in P0, the red one, probably can initialize Q0, and then Q0 can initialize P1, and P1 can in turn initialize Q1, and so some in an oversimplified version is like this. So there are some interaction between the sigma 3 and pi 3, and it can be read off from the tree. So this arrangement, I call it a static because the priority was determined. As long as you tell me which node, say you give me a green node and give me a blue node, I immediately can tell you that the green node has higher priority, right? So this is the traditional way of handling the interaction between sigma 3 word and pi 3 word. But our construction is much more complicated than this. So we have the dynamic priority. So I'll explain the word dynamic in the next 2 slides. So we still want to, we follow the similar idea. So we want to partition the sigma 3 word and pi 3 word into complementary pieces and interlace them. But however, the partition is depending on the stage. So at any stage, we could pair some of the we call it pair. So some of the node in the pi 3 word with some of node in the sigma 3 word. So for example, in this picture, Q0 is paired with C concatenate 1, and Q1 somehow concatenate with 4. So at any stage, we have a finite, we see finite many, you can read as links or pairings like this. Now, each of the link will induce a partition. So for example, Q0 is linked with C concatenate 1. So this is the pair. So you see the box below. So Q0 and the C concatenate with 1 somehow linked. So this link will partition, will give us a partition of part of the word, right? So for example, people living to the left of C0 will have higher priority than C1, and which somehow in turn has higher priority than Q0. So that's the arrow indicating. And then Q0, because it's linked with C concatenate 1, it has higher priority than C concatenate with 2 and 3 and 4 and so on and so forth. And then until you hit C4, and then so the priority was induced by this pairing, and this pairing may change. So this is one of the dynamic feature. So the pairing can change. So therefore, the priority, local priority, can change. So this is one place that the dynamic happens. So there's a funny feature of this assignment of priority. Unlike the previous picture, that the priority is a linear order, it's a total order. Our priority, dynamic priority, somehow is a partial order. There are certain regions where, for example, there's a region in the pi 3 word that we cannot say that regions called A0 and C0, C concatenate 0 with a region below C0, we cannot compare them. We don't know who is having higher priority. So this is a sort of strange. Okay, so let me continue. So another point of the dynamic is this. It's different from this picture. This static priority is even we have this pair. The C concatenate 1 and Q0. Suppose we already have this pair. We cannot say whether C concatenate 1 has higher priority than Q0 or Q0 has higher priority than C concatenate 1. So the reason is this. So here, since I didn't introduce the notations, let me just give a very hand-waving thing. So imagine that there are some node P below C concatenate 1, and Q0 is another node. So we have P against Q, but in the construction, P will attack the set U, for example. Q wants to attack this some candidate V. So here, so imagine a scenario that there are some positive requirements which want to attack U, and there are some positive requirement Q in the pi3 word want to attack V. Now in the construction, for some reason, we have to arrange things like this. We don't want to enumerate elements into U and V at the same time. So at any stage, if we destroy the U side, we must preserve V side, and vice versa. So this is similar to the minimal pair construction. So when the lines agreement increases, you can change either side. So we have this feature that the pair C concatenate with N and the Q is like it's like two persons holding a gun pointing to each other. So whoever has the bullet will shoot first, and then the other guy will initialize the other guy. So this is again quite dynamic. So we don't know who acts first. Depends on the construction, but as long as one side act, the other side we have to clear to initialize. So this is another feature of the dynamic. So since we have this dynamic priority, to check the true path exists requires more work, because we have to make sure that the thing on the true path was initialized only finitely many times, no matter it is from sigma 3 side or from the parallel universe. So there are some difficulties because we assign priority this way. So so that's the other feature I want to highlight. So now let's show. Let me show you some of some bits of the proof. So we'll define true path to be the leftmost one, which we visit infinitely often. So there is a strange feature that we cannot rule out there are more than one true path. So let me go back to this picture. So here, so it is possible that we have a true path. Sorry, I'm okay. So the word true path I use, they are traditional reading of true path, which is a leftmost path visited infinitely often. Now in our construction, I define a true path in a very special way. So the word true path probably have a ambiguous meaning, but in any case, so let me just continue. So it's possible that there is a true path in the sigma 3 word. In our construction, we'll immediately take this true path because this true path will be the leftmost path in the whole tree, and so we are happy to take that as our true path. But however, because the pi3 words are parallel universes, so we cannot rule out the case that, so we have a true path in the sigma 3 word, but somehow there is another true path in the traditional meaning, which enter a pi3 word. So here we could have another path which goes through a pi3 word, which is also initialized only finitely often. So in that case, it seems we are able to offer two counterexamples for the strong minimal pair. Now we cannot rule out, okay, so since we have counter-limiting pi3 word, theoretically, we cannot rule out there are lots of, so in each pi3 word, there's a true path. And at the same time, we have a true path on the sigma 3 word. Probably with some clever reading, we can remove the true path in the pi3 word once we have a true path in sigma 3 word. But at this moment, it's not clear to us. Okay, so let me continue. So so we define true path, and the true path has that funny feature. We are not very sure. And for the omega plus 1 branching tree, it takes 0 triple prime to figure out the true path on the tree. Okay. So now, due to the non-uniformity, it takes one more jump to figure out which set of the UVW wins. So here I want to give you a hand waving argument. So which says this: suppose you give me two indices, WA, which give me RE set A, WB give me RE set capital B, and A is not computed from B. Then in recursive in 0 to the 4, I can return you the index of the witness X. So that is the W with the index F of AB. So here's a sketch. So since I didn't define lots of things, so it's very hand-wavy. Okay. So first, 0 to the 4 can decide if A is less than B. A is recursive in B. If A is recursive in B, then we don't care. So suppose, let's assume A is not recursive in B. Now, I want to convince you using 0 to the 4, I can find out who wins. Okay. So first, use 0 triple prime. I can find a true path, infinite true path on the tree. So we need 0 triple prime because this is omega plus 1 branching. Now, first, in order to decide the winner, we first ask a sigma 1 question for this true path row. So we ask whether row enter the pi3 word, right? There are sigma 3 word, lots of pi3 words. So we ask whether the true path ever enter a pi3 parallel universe. Okay. So case 1, the answer is yes. So it enters a pi3 word. Now, since there's no nesting of pi3 word, once it enters pi3 word, it remains inside pi3 word. And there's a unique C node indicating the gateway of this pi3 word. So use this C node as a parameter. We can actually figure out the segment of true path in the pi3 word by 0 double jump, because inside pi3 word, there's no omega plus 1 branching. There's no, so its life is like the usual construction. So the row become the true path can be computed by 0 double jump. So then we can ask whether on this true path there are infinitely many V node. So if yes, the V, the guy who show up infinitely many times will be the winner. Otherwise, suppose V only show up finitely many times, and then there's a last V. So after the last V, there's only one W. So that W will win. So this is the case when true paths enter a pi3 word. Now suppose true paths never enter pi3 word. So it completely remain inside the sigma3 word. Then again, because it's inside the sigma3 word, we can use zero double jump to find the sigma3 witness. So we can determine, actually, we can also determine the true path. We can, so the row becomes computable from zero double jump. Again, we ask the same question. So we ask row double jump whether there are infinitely many U's. So if there are infinitely many U's, then U is the winner. Otherwise, there's last U, and then we only have V and W. So by a similar argument, in case one, we ask whether there's infinitely many V's, and then if yes, that V is a winner. Otherwise, some W wins. So this is the way to figure out 0 to the 4. Now the question is it necessary for this argument? So using the positive side, using the BCLS argument, we can show that if a function is recursive in 0 triple prime, then it won't tell us the winner. So there's a way to defeat them. I guess I run out of time, so I will not do this. Okay, so by learning from the positive side, we can conclude that the winner cannot be decided by 3 jumps, but it can be decided by 4 jumps. So this is an indirect evidence of the construction probably have something to do with 0 to the 4. Okay, so so that's my second part. So in the remaining 5 minutes or so, I want to make some comments and ask the audience whether they can give us some input. So these comments are related to the priority method. So our interest in the strong minimal pair problem, not only we are interested in the structure of RE degrees, but we are also interested in the method involved, like the priority method. So traditionally, we have an intuition of one priority method is more complicated than the other, right? But it seems we don't have a rigorous definition of the levels of the difficulty levels of priority method. So I'll list a few of them which I know, but some, okay, they are probably not ideal. So the first one is by counting, right? So people know the finite injury, infinite injury is just by counting how many times a requirement X, but this obviously is too crude. Actually, this reminds me many years ago, I think it's Nero's 60 or 70s birthday when Manny Lerman gave a comment saying, okay, Manny can correct me if I'm right. So Manny was saying Nero was a supervisor of Manny. So when Manny was a student, Nero just tell him, so it's very simple, just find a priority method, which is neither finitary nor infinitary. And then, so this is, sounds easy, right? But it's hard to do. So in any case, using finite infinite is not very useful in judging the complexity of priority method. I think so far the best way of linking the priority method with complexity is the Harrington's syntactical analysis of requirements. So usually the priorities method are applied to construction of RE sets or delta 2 sets or some local degree structures. So there is a tension between the recursive construction and the requirements, so the instruction you get. So usually the instruction has some complexity. For example, the instruction will say, if a computation stops, you do something. Otherwise, you do something else. Or if there's infinitely many expansionary stage, you do something. That's a two quantifier question. If something happened infinitely many times, you do something. Otherwise, if it happened finitely many times, then you do something else. So that's two quantifier. For three quantifier is if one thing happened infinitely many times, you do something. Otherwise, there are infinitely many things, each happen finitely many times, then you do something else. So the instruction you get has some very natural syntactical complexity, but you have to write a Turing program. So because you are producing a RE set. So your construction has to be recursive. So there's a tension of how to approximate the instruction. And then this, depending on the syntactical description of your instruction, you can characterize the method by calling them sigma, I don't know, 0 triple or 0 double, so on and so forth. Another way I put a question mark is the one I just illustrated. So say, how many jumps do you need to decide the winner? Right, just now I was trying to say, in our construction, to decide the winner, I need 4 jumps. And I can show 3 jumps is not enough. Okay, so, but this difficulty, I'm not sure whether it's measuring the non-uniformity or measure the priority method. So I'm not very sure whether this is a reasonable way of defining the complexity of priority method. Now, another way is what Chita and I have been doing. So we use a sort of reverse, the idea of reverse mathematics to judge the complexity of the theorem. So intuitively, if a theorem in recursion theory in about RE degrees requires sigma n induction, say requires sigma 3 induction, then it is more complicated than another construction only requires sigma 2 induction, right? But however, this it seems reversing the theorem, but not the proof, right? So for same theorem, you may have a 0 triple prime argument. You may, I don't know, some clever people may also give you a injury-free argument, or by some trick, by relativization, or although in the end it is all equivalent to, say, sigma 3 induction, but when you do construction, the difficult level could change. So this again, it indicates something, but not ideal. And also, I believe Lampert and Luhrmann has this general framework which can accommodate 0 to the n priority argument. So probably, if you can describe a construction using the level n of their framework, and then that's an indicator of how complicated it is. Okay, so these are the ways of describing complexity of priority method, I know. So probably people in the audience can tell me more. So Linda, I still need 2 minutes. I have 2 short slides. And, okay, so allow me to run a little bit over. Okay, so I want to make a remark on the 0 triple prime. So relatively speaking, finite and infinite injury method are well understood. So most of the 0 triple prime argument can be viewed as a finite injury on a true path, right? So in other words, you need a 0 double prime to describe the usual tree construction, the true path, and then you have a finite injury. So it's a 0 jump argument over a 0 double jump argument. So in the end, you get 0 triple prime. In the non-jump inversion theorem, Shor point out, so this part, okay, I cannot give you, this is a bit hand waving from my side. So according to Richard Shor, the construction, the non-jump inversion construction, is a 0 triple for a different reason, because he used a omega plus 1 branching tree. So therefore, it takes 0 triple to simply calculate the true path in the tree. And due to the feature in that construction, Richard continues, says, it might best be described as a 0 double argument or 0 jump. Okay, I don't have time. I'll just continue to the final slide. So my question is, okay, from this slide, it seems there are different paradigms or different 0 triple argument. So are there other interesting types of 0 triple? So are we fully understand 0 triple jump argument? How about 0 to the 4? So do we know any example which can be called a canonical example of 0 to the 4? I think Lampert-Lerman had some example, but that was can be generalized to 0 to the n, right? So, but I want to know an ad hoc construction which somehow is a typical example of 0 to the 4. So if the audience knows, someone from the audience knows, please tell me. Now, the reason I'm interested in the general framework or the way is because it's so easy to make mistake in a construction of RE degrees. So if we have a relatively stable general framework, so we can worry less, right? So lots of burdens will be shifted to the general framework. We only need to check those new features or so lots of things hopefully can be can be guaranteed by the framework, so that we don't need to check. So we can concentrate on the more dubious part of the construction, so that it prevent or minimize the risk of mistakes. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. So the floor is open for questions or remarks and discussion.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for a nice talk. And so, as I understand, in your construction, you use all these 3 family of sets in one construction.
Yes.
So, and for node which one is the desired one, you use 0 for primes.
Yes.
Oracle. So
Yes.
does it mean this your construction is 0 for prime argument construction?
Because there's no definition for that. So I don't know. I would imagine a true 0 to the 4. Maybe there's nested pi3 words or something. This is still quite similar to Richard Shor's. So you see, once we enter the pi3 word, then immediately the difficulty complexity is reduced. So that's I have the same question, right? I would rather to call it 0 to the 4, right? But I don't have definition. I don't.
And did you try to use this Manuel Lerman iterated tree, for example? Like
no,
for this construction.
No. We are. So we have a draft now. So we are trying to double, triple check all the details as far as we can, because of the history of this the problem. There are so many twists, and we don't want to have any more twists. So we are still checking the details.
Because probably these iterated trees, for example, maybe remove this dynamic priority.
I don't know. Yes, so maybe
because it looks very
Steph
scary.
and Manny could comment on this.
And the last question: Who is BCLS?
Okay, so George Barpalius, Mingjong Tsai, Stephen Lamp, and Ted Sliman.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
a
you,
lot.
Mars. Yeah.
I think I see Stefan with the hand raise.
Yeah, so I mean, I really would like this beast tamed, because I don't want this to be twisting and twisting all the time.
Yeah.
I have
sorry, go ahead.
I mean, okay, so you don't have this written up in a final version yet, but you have some draft. I would be very much interested.
No, we okay. So the current stage is we have a draft that we have convinced ourselves this is mathematically correct, but it's unreadable because it's no explanation. It's just instructions of construction and verification.
Okay,
so I don't think anybody would enjoy saying, if I go to this node, I do this and this. When I check, it's by 3.1, this case hold, and so on and so forth. So I will be happy to, if you have time, we can talk. I mean, we can use Zoom to we'll be happy to tell you the complete constructions.
I mean, I'm happy to wait a little longer, until the point where you have something that is easy to read. I mean, which is, I guess, what you're working.
No, I think probably the easiest way is we tell you, right? We draw on.
Oh, okay.
Board,
or that. That would be fine. Yeah, I'd be interested. I have a question about this. Okay, so I mean, so Lerman and I, had this dream for a while. At least, I mean, I gave up on it. I'm not sure if Manny did. He'll have to speak for himself. But I mean, that there was a general framework which sort of was able to handle all possible priority arguments in the same sense as forcing handles sort of the usual.
That would be the dream.
I came to the conclusion in the end that there were so many different priority arguments that that each of them need a little fix, and I just felt that there wasn't really something which I consider satisfactory as sort of a framework that would sort of encompass all of the known constructions of the time, which was in the late 90s, and that's why I sort of got out of that project. I do ascribe more to I think it's on a previous slide, your question mark characterization, which is the one. Hold on a second. Yeah, right. Yeah. So your question mark characterization, which is the question that how complicated is the function, which tells you how requirements are satisfied. I actually have a question about that. So is it true that in your construction, I mean, you seem to say that you need to answer one question, you need to ask one question 0 to the 4. And once you have an answer to that question, and the rest of remaining questions all sigma 0, 3 computable, is that correct?
No. So let me go back to that slide. So we use so this is fake. So this part, sorry, I cannot highlight. So the in the third paragraph next, we use row jump. That's one question about 0 to the 4. So this is one use. Then after that, in both case 1, case 2, the row become recursive in 0 double jump. But we still need to ask how many representative of a set, whether a set appear in row
Oh, I
infinitely
see.
many
I
times.
see. Okay.
So in both cases, we have to ask infinite, how to say, a two quantifier question relativized to
Overall.
row. So
Right, right.
that's
I
the
see.
in both
Okay.
cases so it's not a single question, but
I see. Okay. Okay. I see. So what you're saying is that row is zero double computable, but you have to ask infinite question relative to the row double jump. So
right.
therefore-
But this seems not because of the construction, but this purely because of the non-uniformity. I think if I just construct one RE set, probably this question doesn't appear. So I need to ask row double jump this question because I have so many UVWs. So that's why I need the
right, right.
So this is again maybe is related to the question Mars asked. Do you count this as 0 to the 4?
My way of thinking right now is that I would count it as a 0-4 because in order to figure out how an individual requirement is satisfied seems to really require 0 to the 4 as an oracle, and 0 to 3 is not enough, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that is the true measure of the complexity of.
But we have discussed about ourselves. For example, the downward density of DRE degrees. Somehow, if you use this, you need to decide whether.
Wait, the downward
So for any DRE degree D non-zero, there's a sorry, what I'm saying. There is a RE degree below it, not non-trivial. So use Lachlan set. You can.
Right.
So this is non-uniform, right? I think people have shown. So if D is proper DRE, you can you can use Lachlan set.
Yes.
Otherwise, you use density. So I guess probably figure out which side wins. You need to know whether D is proper DRE. That require maybe 3 quantifiers. But however, I don't feel that construction was a 0 triple.
Right.
So
I mean, I don't
so that's a typical non-uniform. So the to tell the winner, the difficulty comes from the non-uniformity, not from the injury. It seems that's my. So I'm not sure in this construction, the 0 to the 4 comes from because of non-uniformity or become injury. Or you can say whenever you change candidates in the non-uniform construction, it counts like an injury because you change your mind and so on and so forth. In that case, maybe. But again, I don't have a definition for what is 0 to the 4. So.
And so I don't want to monopolize the question period, but I have one more question. So why is it that you only have to go from the sigma 3 world to one single pi 3 world, and then you don't have any more decisions? Aren't there other requirements where you also have to ask the same questions again and again and over, or no? Did I misunderstand something?
No. What you said is correct. So I can tell you the reason, but probably not very convincing. So you see in the construction, we only have one U. Okay, so we construct U, V, W. So the U is the main guy. So we only construct one U. And then for U, he could have infinitely many V's to support him.
Right.
For each V, you could have infinitely many W's to support this V. Now, once we enter the pi 3 world, somehow it tells us globally U is finished. U is not the candidate anymore because gamma U is total and it's not what we want. So in the pi 3 world, there's no, the main guy disappeared. One of his sons, the V alpha, a unique V alpha takeover. So inside the pi3 word is this single V alpha fight with lots of W's. So I know this is very vague, but so there's a key difference. Once you enter the pi3 word, you know that one of the set actually is the main guy who is finished. Only the sidekicks are living inside the pi3 word.
But
So
it
therefore,
could-
it's
okay,
degenerate.
okay. But it could be that even the V is wrong and you have to go to the side kicks W.
Yes.
Okay.
But their interaction is less, it become, sorry, certainly inside pi3 word, we need to use the information that the gamma is totals and so on and so forth.
Right,
So that was crucial to.
Okay.
Mm.
I see. Okay.
Mm.
Well, I mean, we'll have a lot of time in Paris at the airport. Maybe that would be
Okay, sure.
Okay. Thank you. Very
Other-
nice.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I wanted to say a few things, if that's okay. Um, First of all, responding to Stefan about the general framework, the way it was designed, it's not a framework per se. In other words, you can't look at the statement of the theorem and automatically say, these are the requirements and this is the way you're going to satisfy them on the tree. There's a lot of creativity there on how you organize everything to make the framework work. So what Stefan said is technically correct. It's not going to work for everything as an algorithm, but whether it handles every priority argument is still open to question. I sort of believe that every priority argument, if you design it correctly, can be put into the framework. The second comment I wanted to make was I was trying, as the talk was going on, Yui, I was trying to see what you were saying about the way requirements were interacting, how that fit into what I would think of as a pi4 construction. And most of it made sense to me. I wasn't sure I completely understood what the dynamic priorities are. And until I understand that, I can't say that it would fit into the prime priority. But the whole thing about two true paths, as you define true paths, is going to come up in a pi4 argument.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, you know, I would have to think some more about it before answering whether this can be converted into a framework construction. I'd need to understand it a lot better.
Yeah, I'll be happy to have a Zoom or sometime, maybe with Stefan. And okay, I have one response to the multiple true paths. So, of course, it make us worry about the whole thing. So somehow you have so many possible ways of winning. But however, it seems to defeat the strong minimal pair. If X is a counterexample, then anything below X is also a counterexample. So in other words, indeed, there are lots of possibilities of counterexamples. So maybe each true path represent a different weightness, since the weightness of the non-strong minimal pair phenomena has lots of witnesses. So it's not a direct contradiction that we cannot have many different witnesses.
No, what I was saying is, if you try to mirror 0 to the 4th construction on a 0 double prime type tree argument with omega plus 1 many branches, there are going to be many branches that are followed infinitely. There are going to be several branches that are going to be followed infinitely often.
Oh, good. Okay.
But when you cut down to sub-requirements and interweave them and set up the priorities like you were saying, as I said, I don't understand the dynamic.
Yeah,
priority,
okay. Yeah, okay.
But the sub-requirements on the 0 double prime tree have a fixed priority. But different requirements on the 0 4th tree will have requirements. One sub-requirement will have a higher priority than a sub-requirement of another node. And then this will change. But when you go to the 0 4th tree, you have a single true path. So if you have multiple true paths that give you counterexamples, that doesn't seem to fit into my conception of the framework.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So
let me jump in here for a moment just to say, because we are having a wonderful, very long discussion past the time, we can certainly continue, and I keep the recording going, but I want to mention as well that if anybody is needing to leave, of course it's Zoom and you can, but just that somebody says like, yeah, you know, we're going way over, and it's totally fine. And I thought we could also just go ahead and give our second round of applause. Thank you again, Yang Yua. And the discussion can continue after, but I want to give people that closure and that option. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Yeah, I don't know that it makes much sense to continue right now.
Yeah.
Until, as Stefan said, until we have more details, it's going to be hard to say.
But the details is quite ugly.
Right.
Actually, I do want to mention that Selwyn and I are in the middle of writing up a construction which looks like it would also 0 to the 4 kind of construction. And it again, it uses an omega plus 1 branching tree, but there you have a leftmost path visited infinitely often, except for the fact that if you visit the omega path, then infinitely often you will visit to the left, but you will visit only each individual path to the left only finally often. Right, so basically you have omega plus 1 order type omega plus 1 of the outcomes, right? And if the true outcome is omega, then you will only finally often visit each individual n, but collectively you might visit n infinitely often. And so therefore that makes the true path 0 triple, and then there is still entry along the true path, which means it's 0 to the 4th also. This is for a couple.
In the framework, that happens at the 0 double prime level. You have infinitely many finite outcomes and then one infinite outcome.
Right. But then there's one more level that once you know the true path, you still don't know how the requirements are satisfied. Right. So yeah. So when, I mean, if you were gonna phrase this in terms of our framework from a long time ago, I mean, I think you would end up with 0 to the 4. I mean.
Oh yeah, because sub-requirements on the 0 double prime tree are spaced out. There's no one 0 to the 4th requirement that is the only requirement that appears on the path infinitely often.
Right.
But can I ask repeat one of the questions? So what is a typical example of 0 to the 4? So it probably appear in E degrees or in a
This particular one that we're working on is so you know what an Amat pair is in the E degree? Yeah. So what we're trying to show is this is actually joint work with Mars and Iskander that we started like a very, very long time ago. We're trying to show there's an Amat pair such that the 2 halves join the 0 prime. Which is something that we had sketched a long time ago, and we're finally getting back to it. So I don't know whether or not it pans out. I don't know. I mean, there are no claims, right? But I'm just saying this is one thing I've recently encountered, that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm gonna have to say goodbye.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for coming.
We'll be in touch, Huey.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I have to go say goodbye too, given that it's Valentine's Day in this time zone anyway. So I think my wife would like to see me at some point. So
okay. Bye, Stefan.
Night, folks.
Yeah. Probably we can stop now, I guess.
Or good morning, whichever. Yeah. So
All right, we're stopping now.
Yeah.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody.